am Amy Haydak. I am a licensed clinical social worker, probably for about 11 and a half years now. Started my career out being a therapist for children and families, specifically with trauma. Got a pretty big passion for wanting to break the generational cycles, because you go in and you work with the kids, right? And you give them all the strategies, do all the things, but ultimately it doesn't change unless you break the cycle with the parents and work with the trauma with the parents as well, and so on and so forth. So fast forward a little bit, started a coaching business to try to reach a lot of moms. And so far I started a Facebook group called Parenting with Purpose, and trying to get people in to really give them the skills and the knowledge, as much free stuff as I can give them to help with their own emotional regulation, help with their own parenting skills, and that connection and attachment with their children. And if they take all the free stuff and that's all they take and it works, then I'm happy with that. It definitely, fulfills my bucket of what I'm trying to do. Ultimately, there will be some courses and some additional stuff that go a little deeper with some of the skills and everything that I'll have to be able to promote to them. But so far, just trying to really get moms in, engage them and whatnot. So that's the parent coaching side of everything. That's me in a nutshell. I still have a private practice now. My private practice is Resilient Roots Therapy. It's all telehealth. I can see anybody in the state of New Jersey. And then my coaching practice is just Amy Haydak Coaching. And I have websites. You can check that out as well.
Perfect. All right. So we'll get into just a couple of questions here. And I think you'll be able to help a lot of people, not just moms, because I think everything kind of flows together.
For sure.
All right. So what do you think the difference between healthy guilt and toxic guilt is?
So I think healthy guilt is like when you make a mistake, realize it's a mistake. I can be better. Basically you learn from it, right? The whole point of mistakes. As a mom, when I accidentally yell, when I lose my cool, or oh man, I can't believe I did that. I'm fessing up. I made a mistake. I should have done this. It was wrong, right? But next time I have to choose to be more aware of that and to do better. And that's the same for every mistake, right? Healthy guilt. I felt guilty about it. I chose to be different. Toxic guilt is where it almost becomes now the identity. I am the mistake. I am not worthy of anything else because I make too many mistakes. Therefore, I am a mistake. And then it kind of becomes ingrained in who we are and affects our self-esteem and self-worth and everything that's attached to that.
Right. So if you were struggling with toxic guilt and you needed help, how would you recommend somebody to get help? Obviously therapy, but other things people could do?
Yeah. And there's some therapy techniques we can use. Therapy is nice because somebody's guiding them, doing that. And it's very difficult to do that inner work. But it's not a simple answer. Therapy and mental health, and it's definitely never a simple answer, but it starts with a lot of awareness and a lot of self-reflection. So if we're struggling with that toxic guilt and it has now become ingrained in us, more likely than not, it's rooted somewhere very deep, probably in childhood somewhere. And it may be unintentional. We grow up, we have what we feel are a good childhood, good parents, this, that, and the other. And then as we get older, especially when we become parents, these things come out and you're like, whoa, where is this from? Why am I feeling this? Why do I have this value? It doesn't make any sense. But we have to figure out where it comes from. So if we do the work and we kind of do the reflection, journaling is great if you're into that, meditation, mindfulness. And I'm not saying kumbaya kind of stuff, because that's not always the world, right? Exercise could be really good for a place of reflection too, but it's just really realizing what are the triggers for the guilt? What are we thinking when we feel guilty? And kind of wanting to pick that apart a little bit more. And recognizing that guilt isn't who you are. It's a part of you and it's there for a reason. A lot of work I do in therapy is called parts work. So guilt would be a part of you. And usually these parts are there to protect you. And they evolve and they become maladaptive, which is now where we're talking about, this whole toxic guilt space. But ultimately, long answer to a short question is a list starts with a lot of self-reflection. And then how do we reframe it? How can we identify okay, I feel guilty because this is what's going on. I can self-soothe. I can regulate. I am enough. I am okay. And we have those mantras. Another thing is, what do I need in the moment? Making sure your needs are being met as, you know, whoever the individual is, or what need did I need to be met back then that originated the guilt, right? Again, not an easy process, but those are some bullet point answers for that.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great. Because like you said, for me personally, when I first started my journey into adulthood, I didn't think I needed therapy because I knew what was wrong. I knew what triggered me. Didn't necessarily know why, but I knew how to handle it, or so I thought. And then I was like, maybe I do need to go to therapy, but you have to find the right therapist too. I
Mm-hmm.
finally found one, and I'm realizing now that, wow, everything I thought I knew, I didn't actually know. So before that, it was a lot of, I'm not really sure where to turn. What can I do on my own? Because opening up to somebody is very difficult. And even still, my therapist is great, but there are certain things she'll ask me, and I'm like,
Not
I
yet.
don't think I'm ready to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just constantly, feeling that way, you have to have a different outlet. And I
Yeah.
think you named off a lot of good things that people can definitely easily find or do.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. It's intention. I'm always like big with the word intention, and realizing that, you know, growth isn't linear. So just because you have the intention of, I'm going to be self-aware, I'm going to make the change, I'm really going to do the work, it doesn't mean you're going to be on a good, you know, upward path of healing. It's going to be swirly. You know, there's going to be ups and downs and bruises and everything along the way. But as long as that intention is there, then you're definitely going to get to the other side.
Um, what do you think forgiveness, either to yourself or to others, plays in the process of kind of that letting go?
Hmm. I think you're gonna be mad at me. My answers are never easy. I'm
It's okay.
analyzing everything,
I
right?
don't
So
think it's ever easy.
I think it depends on what it is that needs forgiving, right? So self-forgiveness is one process, but again, where is it rooted? So if it's rooted in childhood trauma, the idea of guilt, the idea of shame, the idea of like self-blaming is a deep, deep identity for that person. So that's going to be a lot of, you know, that self inner work of what is it that they need for healing. But ultimately, if we're trying to forgive the person who did that to us, who ingrained that, or maybe it was as an adult, maybe we were in some type of abusive relationship or a toxic friendship, and we kind of started to have those values. Choosing, do I want to forgive that person? And if I do, is it for them or is it for me? And how does it help my own healing if I choose to forgive them? So yeah, a lot of just going back to that reflection of why would it be worth it?
Right.
And then really understanding that, because some people are like, well, if I could just know the truth, or if I could just get revenge, and then I fast forward, I'm like, all right, well, let's pretend that happened. How would that change anything? Ultimately, the situation still happened. So, you know, we could project this to that person or to that person. But I think that forgiveness, where the biggest healing is doing that inner work and forgiving yourself for having the guilt, forgiving yourself for blaming, for doing this, for doing that, whatever the case may be.
What would you recommend for grounding practices when guilt flares up, maybe in the middle of the night, in the middle of a crowd, something where, you need to kind of get yourself down back to the normal level?
Actually, on my website, the amyhaydakcoaching.com, there's a freebie section that has a free download for it's for moms, but honestly, anybody can use it. It's just my target people. And it's called Reset Your Reactions. So it has a lot of different grounding skills on it and a lot of different reflections. Breathing is always the best foundational go-to, right? A deep breath in, I like a hold, and then out through your mouth. Belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing is usually probably the most helpful. However, sometimes, especially for people with trauma, people who have experienced trauma, breathing can be a trigger. The idea of, I'm paying too much attention to my body is too still, potentially will recreate a flashback for whatever reason. I won't get into deep with that, but it can be a trigger and do the exact opposite. So making sure that if you notice, because everybody's like, take a deep breath, calm down, walk away. Absolutely, that works, but not for everybody. So if anybody's realizing that this, amazing golden skill is actually making things work for them, we have other stuff for you. So any kind of grounding skill, like you mentioned, where we're centering ourselves to the present. And that is where we want to incorporate any kind of like sensory input, and everybody's different. So it could be something visual, like let me look around the room and let me pick 5 different things around the room. Let me sing. Singing and humming is a really good nervous system reset. So that could be helpful. Distracting yourself, counting, singing, your favorite childhood song, naming all the cereals you've ever eaten in your life, right? So sometimes we can just do a simple distract our brain so it doesn't continue to kind of ruminate and go, and it goes down that rabbit hole that so many of us have been in so many times. So that is something like a cognitive thing that we can do to distract our brain. There's another skill called a havening technique. If you go on YouTube, there's a neuroscientist who has so many different educational videos about it, or meditation videos that she guides you through. But it's basically a self-touch technique if people feel comfortable doing that. It's going to be where you're doing like a bilateral hug, like a gentle hug with your arms like that. Almost like you're washing your hands here, under your nose, or a bridge of your nose and under your eyes, and then above your eyebrows as well. So if you kind of do those movements and pair it with the distraction for about 2 to 5 minutes, it's scientifically proven. It's scientifically proven to regulate your nervous system. And the reason for that tiny little bit, there's a fiber in your skin that gets activated. That's a part of your limbic system. Your amygdala, which is what is responsible for those impulsive responses of like your emotions, your actions, your words. Your amygdala is responsible for that. These particular movements, distraction techniques kind of help to settle the amygdala. So now it goes to the part of our brain that thinks logically. Did that make sense?
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But definitely check her out on YouTube, because she'll show the movements again and kind of walk you through. She has a lot of different meditations for there's one for guilt, there's ones for trauma, there's ones for anxiety. There's so many that kind of help walk through. If anybody needs a little help with that reflection process, she can definitely help you with that.
Sure. And thank you. I actually learned a couple things because we're just not taught that, it's always take a deep breath, count to 10, but like sometimes I don't want to take a deep breath and sometimes I don't want to count to 10. Sometimes it's just like, okay, all right. So those are actually really great things to take away from that.
Yeah, for sure.
So what do you say to someone who is maybe afraid to let go of their guilt because it's like part of their identity or it's something that they deserved?
So there's a technique we use in therapy to challenge that. So ideally, we're going to want to give it space first. We're not going to challenge it. We're not going to tell you you're wrong. No, you didn't deserve that. People have been telling that person that for years. Oh, it's falling down. It's like saying to somebody who thinks they're ugly, you're beautiful. They're not going to, it's deeper than that. There has to be like I call it like a detective game, or like, you're in court, you're proving the evidence for it or proving the evidence against it. So my favorite technique to use in therapy for this is trauma-informed narrative therapy, which is, people can do it through journaling on their own and really just go through the process too. Therapy is always much better doing it, but basically they're going to tell their story. So like you said, you hit the points of whatever it is that happened. If it's ingrained, if it's a part of their identity, they can't see that there's all these other amazing qualities and layers of who they are, because that guilt is so strong. And that kind of, rolls over into the IFS perspective of that guilt part is so big. The other parts are still there, but they're on vacation somewhere. They're not paying attention. This part is working overtime. Usually when those parts are really loud, they want attention, they want to be heard, and they want to be validated. Just just like people in general, right? We want our feelings to be heard and understood. So we tell the story. Hey, tell me your story. I'm not going to question you. I'm not going to ask you if it's really true, what happened, whatever. Just from start to finish, let me know your experience. And then what I'll do is I write down the themes, I write down different things that they're saying, and then I go back and I ask for more. And I say, well, tell me a little bit more about this scenario. What were you thinking and feeling here? And this is based on the situations that originated the guilt, right? Okay, cool. How are you feeling? And then that's where we might practice some of the grounding skills. So it's a process. It's definitely like a process, right? So we pick the skill that works, do the grounding, do the breathing, meditation, whatever it might be. And usually when people talk about trauma or talk about guilt, they elevate, right? Whether it's their body, their emotions, you know, they go up on the scale of dysregulation. So by doing the story little by little while incorporating the skills, we're paying attention to that scale and we're teaching our bodies how to regulate. Oh, I'm getting a little too high. I need a skill. Oh, I'm getting a little too high again. I need a skill. And being able to tolerate, like a distress tolerance, being able to tolerate the memory, being able to tolerate the experience and the feeling, but then being able to take control. So that's the idea of it, is that there is no like statement or there is no like magical skill that's going to make it go away. We have to build up that tolerance. And then ultimately, once we do that a little bit, they feel more comfortable and they've built that tolerance up. We challenge it. Okay, that guilt came from A, B, and C. Well, where's the proof that that's really true? And then we talk about that. And usually by the end of it all, the person is like, yep, none of that was my fault. Can't tell you why I've ever felt that way, but it's lifted, it's gone. Right? And now I feel this way. Now in 3 months, are they going to potentially come back to it? Yes, because it's always going to be there. But now they have the skills, they have the communication, they have the reflection ability to say, I hear you, I see you, and I know what to do now. That makes sense.
I think that last part there that you said, is it going to come back? Because, you know, sometimes, you know, as a human, I feel we're like, okay, I want it gone, I want it fixed, and that's it. But it's not that simple. Mm-hmm. So I think also it's a very powerful thing to just recognize that what we feel or what we felt for almost our entire life is not just going to go away. Because like you said, it is a part of you and it will always be there. But now, you know, we have the tools to deal with that. We can kind of just brush it to the side now. So I think that's a really great takeaway too. Just acknowledging that it's not going to go away.
Absolutely. And the same thing, you know, with grief and loss and, you know, any potential guilt associated with that. The question is, how long am I going to feel like this? And I say, well, how long did you love that person? My whole life, right? It's always going to be there. It's how do you grow with it instead of allowing, like, you know, it's there. I'm growing with it. I'm growing around it rather than allowing it to take over and live for you. Right. So it's about that perspective shift as well.
All right. Last question. Do you have like a favorite reminder or affirmation just to remind yourself that you are okay and that it's okay to feel?
Yeah. I have about 1,000. It depends on the scenario. I've been accumulating them for many years. Most of them have been developed since I've become a mother. But two are my favorites. One is the Bob Marley song, Three Little Birds. It's my favorite song, but it's also just like, you know, you wake up, the birds are there singing again. It's a new day. The sun is shining. I mean, most of the time. It's new. I can make this a new day. And it's a reminder. Mine is also very faith-based that, you know, God's got everything. He's in control. I can lift it no matter what's going on for the day, no matter what's going on in my life. I know he has a plan and I'm trusting that. But my favorite scripture is I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, which doesn't mean that I can move mountains like he can, or, you know, I can fly, whatever. It's just that I know that whatever comes my way, he's going to give me the strength to handle. So I will say that over and over and over again, many, many times. Those are probably two of my favorites. For any parents out there, like kind of dealing with the big feelings of children, I close my eyes and I say, this won't last forever. In about 2 minutes, it'll be okay. Because in that moment, when we're so heightened, it's almost like this tantrum over the wrong colored spoon ruins the entire day. But it really lasts 2 minutes. In the
Right.
grand scheme of life, it's 2 minutes long, but we allow it to take over. So you have to kind of like, okay, I know tantrums happen. They're young. Give it 2 minutes, and then we'll be best friends again, right? It's kind of just accepting that it's going to be part of it. But I would probably say those are probably my biggest survival skills there.
I think those are all great.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you're a licensed medical professional.
Licensed clinical social worker. I don't know
Yes,
anything
licensed.
about medicals. Don't throw
Okay,
those.
licensed. So you're
Yeah.
a licensed clinical social worker.
Yes.
So you teach people, how to deal with feelings. You walk
Mm-hmm.
them through all sorts of things that go on in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still telling me that you do feel the same emotions. So it's good to know that even people who can coach people and who know what they're doing to get people through things also feel that kind of way. So it's nice to know that nobody's immune to it, even if you have all the tools.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And sometimes I feel like it makes it worse because I know so much and I analyze it all. And then to go back to guilt, right? Oh gosh, I just yelled at my kid. Oh man, I'm gonna traumatize her forever. And now I'm ruminating in that. Stop, would you stop? Right. And then I'm arguing with myself because I know I'm not supposed to. It gets loud up here, you know. So no, any kind of mental health professional, we had the same exact feelings and experiences. And I've been doing parent-child work for, I don't know, well over 15 years now. And yeah, I still get it wrong. I still make mistakes. The repair after the rupture for parents is really big, meaning you own up to the mistake. If you yelled, if you made you did the wrong thing, or I don't know, whatever it is, that's usually yelling based, right? I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Right? You do that enough, that connection, that attachment is there where your kid is going to now realize, or at least this is my experience, because my children are amazing children. Drive me crazy, but they're amazing children. They notice that I'm frustrated or sad. And they come up and they ask, Mommy, are you okay? Do you need a hug? My little girl, she's got a little chocolate stash. And she's like, I think you need this, Mom. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. Right. And it helps me because now someone's validating, someone's seeing me. And it's something that my husband and I have taught them. And they're doing that back, So it is a lot of work and it is exhausting. But no, we are not immune. No one is immune. We are all human and have all of the feelings.
Okay. Is there anything I didn't cover that you would like to mention, or any last thing you want to leave with anyone?
Yeah, sure. So mothers that's kind of in my parent coaching space. Mothers who have experienced trauma, who haven't experienced trauma, it doesn't really make a difference. We all still have big feelings. Kind of just wanting to learn additional skills for themselves and how to raise emotionally intelligent children and have an emotionally intelligent family. Breaking the cycle of how we generally were raised, where feelings were not really talked about or understood. Feel free to join my group. It's on Facebook. It's called Parenting with Purpose. It's a yellow banner. It has my face real big on it. Basically, there's a lot of free content that I post in there. Right now, we're hosting a 30-day challenge, a 30-day parenting challenge. It comes with a workbook. It's all free in the group. And basically, like there's an education giving a little background as to why we react a certain way, right? And then a little bit of homework, a little bit of reflection, but they're little prompts. They're realistic because we're moms and we can't really put a lot of time into ourselves sometimes. But each day kind of builds and is supposed to bring that inner child healing. It's supposed to bring some self-regulation skills, the connection and parenting that we want with our children. We are on day 4 because we started July 1st. So we still are fresh in the beginning. If anyone wants to join, feel free. You can catch back up. But I pop in a few times a day and I'll comment on whatever it is, your progress or questions about anything, I'll be there as much as I can, but trying to make it a supportive community where everyone supports each other. So that's what I have rolling now. I do have a parenting course coming out soon called the Rooted Parent Method, which does bring in a lot about a little bit more of that deeper work. Not therapy based because it is a coaching side, but there are a lot of really great techniques and education in there. That's emotion, it's about emotional intelligence for yourself, for your children, that inner child healing. And then what do we do during the tantrums? What do we do during the meltdowns? How do we really manage that, but also understand it at the same time and then bring some change? So that's almost done. That's going to be rolling out hopefully sometime the beginning to middle of August. And anybody in the group is going to get a significant discount on the whole course. So anybody in the group gets discounts on anything. So please come join it. Otherwise, it'll be posted somewhere else, wherever I figure out how to post that. But yeah, that's all I got going. You can have all that information is posted on amyhaydakcoaching.com. You can join the group straight from the bottom of my website.
Okay, perfect. All right. So next, if you could just send me any type of links you have and just in an email so that I can just copy it and I'll put it into the show notes. And also, if this is like, did you say this was your first podcast?
First, like, yes, for the most part, we'll say first.
Well, you did very well.
Thank you.
So you, I think when people listen to this, they're going to learn a lot. And you're going to be kind of at the end of my season. It's going to be like a little wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you just said, everything, your stuff will already be out, but that's okay because we'll still direct them back to you. Mm-hmm. And I will email you when I figure out exactly what date you will be on. So if you want to watch it, you can. Listen, you can. If not, it's fine too. And then I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I'll email you if I am.
Fun.
Yeah. So if you need anything from me from now until forever, you can just give me an email. But it was very nice meeting you, and I really enjoyed our talk.
Yeah, good. And any other mental health stuff coming up? I mean, we talk for hours on it. So
actually, my next season, it's gonna be about like specific mental health. So like we're gonna have like anxiety and then depression. It's just gonna kind of go from there. Mm-hmm. So I will definitely keep you in mind because I think you speak very well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hear that sometimes, and I was like, yeah, no, these people are crazy. But it's it's nice to hear.
No, it's true. Yeah. No, you did great. So again, you just told me all that stuff. So put it back on you. You speak very well. You're very informing, and it wasn't boring. You also made it like realistic and fun to learn. And I even learned something. So I like that.
I like to teach. I mean, not like as an actual teacher, but I like to provide information and education to others to help. So, all right, cool. Well, I will send over the links, and then just, keep me posted.
All right. Sounds good. Have a happy 4th of July and be safe.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.